All right, guys, let's talk about in-season training. So we're approaching that time of year now. High schoolers are going back to play. College guys are about to start playing pretty soon. And we have to start considering the difference between off-season and in-season strength training, the throwing progression, arm care, everything. So what I have here is the throwing and the training progression. In our training progression, that's going to contain the arm care. The reason for that is because arm care are kind of like mini lifts, even the mobility sessions. So let's start with the throwing because obviously that's what we're built around. So say you're the Tuesday starter. We'll go high school example, but this does apply to college guys. So say you start on Tuesday. The next day, I would want either the option of no throw, light throwing, very light plyos, or light football toss. Just trying to get the arm back moving. You don't even have to throw if you don't want to. If you threw 100 pitches, there's no reason to really go out and throw all that much. And then the day after, when we get to that Thursday, we're going to get to a little bit more of like a light, moderate intent. We can kind of start gripping the ball again, throwing our curveball, throwing sliders, change-ups, everything. That Friday, we're going to be more at that moderate intent. We're definitely going to be throwing the grip in there. And then Saturday is when we can add in a long toss day. If you're a long toss guy, that's when we'll throw our bullpen about 10, 20 pitches. Again, it depends on where you started. Like on Tuesday, if I went 3 innings, maybe struggled a little bit, threw 50 pitches in 3 innings and I couldn't get out of it, I might throw a little bit more on that Friday when I have my bullpen. I'm sorry, that Saturday when I have that bullpen. But if I threw 7 innings and I threw 80, 100 pitches, I'm probably going to go on the lighter end of about 10 to 15 pitches just to have that touch and feel, get on the mound again. And then Sunday, we'll just take it light, maybe even some light plyos. And then the day before a game, just some light, moderate catch, toss the grip, and get ready for the next day. Now, on any of these given days, you can throw off the mound if you want to, except I would discourage the day after a game to throw off the mound. I just don't think that it's super beneficial. The point of mound catch is to feel the slope. When you're throwing sub 50, 60% intensity, there's really no reason to be hopping on the mound because we're just kind of there. Throwing off the mound is a great training tool. We just don't want to abuse it. So, mound catch, if we're doing that on Thursday and Friday leading up to our bullpen, or maybe we're doing it on Friday and then we're doing it again Monday, the day before the game, just to feel the slope. That doesn't mean abuse it and throw it like it's a bullpen. You could throw 5, 8, 10 at most just to feel the slope. Catcher doesn't even have to be down. It could be another catch partner just standing there, just trying to work on being in the zone or just right at your partner's chest. And then from there, just feeling the slope again. Because it's hard to go game, bullpen, and we're going high intent, and then the rest of the days we're just throwing on flat. It can be a little difficult. Some guys don't really like that as much. On the training end, the day of the game, some sort of light arm care if you want it, but you do have the option to do nothing. Some guys, maybe they just want to go get cupped, Mark Pro, scraping, whatever works for them. But if we are going to do arm care, it would be light shoulder complex, light scapular, and then very light forearms. Our forearms get a lot of work in the game. We don't even have to do the forearms. A lot of the stuff on game day after the game is extremely optional. The most important thing that we do is we get adequate sleep, we hydrate, and we get the right nutrients back in us. That's the most important arm care and training. The day after, we're going to do a restoration type lift. So we're going to go through full range of motion. We're either going to use no weight, a maximum of like 30% of the weight that we could do. We're not going to axial load, so that means we're not going to be doing any, back squatting, reverse lunging with a bar. And most of the arm care is going to be built around really just mobility, opening up range of motion again, making sure that we're able to, have that range of motion going into the next day as we start to throw a little bit harder again. And then guys have the option to do some scapular arm care if they want. I would discourage things that are more of our high-end scapular arm care routines and opt for something more like the crossover series if an athlete finds it to be fairly easy. Now again, everybody's different. We have some arm care routines that I consider to be really hard and some that I consider really easy, and athletes find that the other way around. Everyone's very different. So that day after we do that restoration lift, Thursday, so we're 2 days off the game, we're going to go with a light lift. So low CNS, low central nervous system. We're not going to tax the nervous system that much. We still want to have strength gains. We're going to keep things in the 3 sets, 4 sets at most. We're going to be in the 2 to 5 rep range. And it's not going to be anything insanely challenging. We're going to be in the 80% of the 1 to 3 rep max range. And then shoulder complex arm care, so more targeted toward the rotator cuff, because we're just trying to kind of, get right back into it. Maybe even a little bit of scapular. It kind of depends on the guy again. And then Friday, the day before our bullpen, so now we're 3 days out of our start, we're going to do our sprints. After that, we're going to do blood flow. That could be like Mark Pro, cupping, scraping, anything like that, voodoo floss, something that's just getting the blood flow. Because again, arm care is like another lift. And in season, we don't need to be lifting all the time. Then on Saturday, when we're 4 days out of our start, that's when we have our bullpen. We're going to do our high CNS lift. So we're going to tax our nervous system more than we will the whole week aside from the game. Now, we're not going to do a lot of volume, right? We might do 3 to 5 exercises max. Some guys, if they come off of a complete game, they might want to do 1 exercise. They may even want to skip the lift, and that's okay. So we're going to do that high central nervous system lift, pair it with either scapular arm care or shoulder complex. So we're either hitting scaps really hard or we're hitting the rotator cuff pretty hard. Then we're going to do forearms. Now, again, this could be light. Our forearms get a lot of work in season. Starter, reliever, doesn't matter. I know that we're on a starter schedule here, but our forearms get a ton of work. So that's when we're going to really kind of push it in the weight room more, push it on the arm care end. That next day after the bullpen, we're going to treat it like a mini post-game day. So we're going to just have blood flow and mobility arm care. That's all we're going to do. You can do, any other optional running if that's your thing. I personally am not a big run guy. I really only like sprints. And then the day before the game, just blood flow. Again, we could do some light other stuff. We could do stabilizations with our partner or our coaches. We could do light manuals with our coaches. But really, the ultimate goal in season is this day right here, game day. That's the most important day out of the week. So we have to make sure that all these other days are preparing us for this day right here. All of this is super easy to substitute, take out, add in. Same up here, right? Like we could throw as little or as much as possible in between starts. Ideally, we want to be able to throw a lot. That's kind of the key to health. And that goes into the preseason training, really, where we're supposed to be built up for more pitches than we can handle. Most high schoolers on the first game of the year, the coach is going to want them to throw about 50 to 65 pitches. They should be ready to handle 75 pitches at that point because it's going to make it seem like nothing when they do that 60, 65 pitch range. Because games are far more stressful than bullpens or live at-bats. So everything is based around game day. Now, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Drop them in the comments, or you can DM us. You can find us on Instagram at Fearless Sports Performance, and you can find us on Twitter at Fearless Sports Performance. So I hope you guys found this useful. Again, if you're not a Tuesday starter, just take these days and switch them around however you want. And if you're a relief pitcher, we will make a new video on that coming up. And until then, stay fearless.